Okay guys, today we're going to talk about buying your first gun. So to get started, you need to pick kind of what style of firearm that you think you might want. I have a video that talks about 5 different styles of firearms that you might eventually want to own one day. I'll put a link right here. But essentially, if you're buying your first gun, you're likely not going to you're probably not doing it for hunting. You're very likely doing it for self-defense. So in this case, you probably want something that's great for self-defense and ideally portable, so you can defend yourself when camping, hiking, in your vehicle, wherever. So that rules out a lot of the other self-defense guns like shotguns and ARs. So at that point, you're looking at some sort of handgun, which is a great way to get started into firearms. So now that we've established that it's likely that you're going to start with a handgun, there are a couple things that you should do before you get your handgun. The very first thing is you should know all the firearm safety rules. Even if you are in a state that you plan to carry because of constitutional carry, you should learn all the safety rules and learn the general laws about firearms as well. So as far as what firearm to get for your first handgun, I would recommend sticking with a caliber that is common. So I would recommend going with the 9mm simply because the ammo, especially range ammo, is cheap and plentiful. 9mm also has some great benefits such as high magazine capacity for self-defense, also a manageable recoil, much better than the 10mm or 45 auto, and it's a nice balance of stopping power as well, so you don't sacrifice any of that. Okay, as far as a specific 9mm to get, I would recommend something that's going to be reliable, but also you're probably looking for something a little bit more budget friendly for your first firearm. This is a Springfield Hellcat. It runs between $500 and $600. This is an XDM, also between $500 and $600. But then you also have a lot of budget 9mm that lately, in the past decade or so, have gotten far more reliable and still have a lot of the features that your higher end firearms get. So for your first firearm, you're probably looking at something more like this. I did a review on this one. This is the Zigana PX9. I paid $250 for this. Another great firearm company to start with is Taurus, particularly their G2C and their G3C. I think they have a deal going on with a rebate that you can get the G2C for under $200 or right around $200. So great options to start with. Just keep an eye out for different deals and go pick one. So now if you've kind of decided on the model, maybe you still have some questions, a great resource is your local firearms store. Almost any sporting goods store or outdoor store, they'll typically be FFLs, which stands for Federal Firearm License. They have their FFL and they are happy to ask questions. You just go in there, hey, look, I'm looking to get my first gun. What do you recommend? Maybe something, mention that you're looking for maybe a little bit like of a budget 9mm, and they will show it to you. They will explain. They will show you how to show it's clear. Feel free to ask questions. Us firearms enthusiasts love explaining stuff to beginners. So ask all the questions you want, and I really recommend going into a store for your first firearm simply because it allows you to feel the firearm, feel how it works, ask all the questions that you want, and then once you pick one that you like, you can purchase it. Now, if it is your first firearm, depending on what state you're in, there's different limitations and stuff, but for the most part, you'll be able to buy it as long as you're not a prohibited person, aka you haven't committed any felonies, any violent misdemeanors, you don't have, there's a whole slew of other things that if you've done, then you won't be able to purchase it. But at that point, you'll mention you want to purchase it. You fill out a document called a 4473. It's got a bunch of different questions on it. Don't lie on that. If you do, it gets punishable up to 10 years in prison and a bajillion-dollar fine. So don't lie on that document. You'll also have to go before the federal organization that runs the background checks closes. Somebody's going to put in the comments below what that organization is because I can't remember it. So they will run your background check, and then if you don't have a concealed carry permit, you typically have to buy your firearm before that government organization closes, and usually have to get to the firearm store before a certain time. So usually it's around 5 o'clock or so, and then the organization closes at like 6 or 7. But call your firearm store, go ask them what that process is like. After your background check clears, you pay the you pay for the firearm, you can take it home at that point. So again, like I mentioned, 4 rules of firearm safety, you always need to practice those. And then my next recommendation is you actually go to the range and practice, get super comfortable with it, discipline with the 4 rules, and get better at using your particular firearm. If you're married, have your spouse use it. Probably bring your spouse to the firearm store so she can also feel it as well, because women oftentimes struggle to get the slides back. They even just have guns specifically that are a little bit easier to rack for women, so that's a great place to start as well. As far as laws go, obviously you're going to want to make sure you're going to follow all laws. You want to do everything legal. It ain't worth going to jail for a bajillion years for accidentally slipping up. If you do find one online that you would like to purchase, you can do that. I did a video on buying guns online. Essentially, you have to ship it to an FFL, Federal Firearms License organization or business, and then you go pick it up to there and typically pay a transfer fee. Typical transfer fees is like $20-30 on in addition to whatever your firearm taxes and shipping fees was. So you can purchase a firearm online, but again, for your first one, I recommend going into a brick and mortar store. Okay guys, that's pretty much it for this introduction video to buying your first firearm. If you have any other comments on first firearms for new viewers or people that are thinking about getting their first firearm, please put that in the comments below. Also, if you have any specific recommendations on a great first firearm, you can put that in the comments below as well. Okay guys, thanks for watching.